Welcome to the Next Level Podcast. I'm your host, Jared, and this is Taylor. And today we are talking to Mr. Josh Curlett from Sound Productions. We also have a product review. It is sweet. And then, of course, dad joke of the day. Y'all stick around. Welcome back to the Next Level Podcast. I am your host, Jared, being joined by Taylor Ward.
What's up?
So, how's things going today?
Today is wonderful. I've had my coffee. I'm on a nice sip and drink, and we got a exciting interview coming up.
Absolutely. Joshua Curlett is the CEO of Sound Productions. They are based out of Dallas, Texas, and they also have an office in Madison, Wisconsin. And that's actually through that office how I found out about them. Mm-hmm. And we order some products through them. A good bit of our products come through them, and they are a great resource. And today's episode is going to talk a lot about like relationships and who can you trust?
Yeah.
When it comes to ordering things, I mean, there's so many people on the, e-commerce playing field.
There's an endless,
who do I need to order from? Who can I, hopefully build a relationship with? Who can I trust? And things like that. And we're going to dive into to talking to him and just really seeing, I think it's a lot about culture.
Yeah.
But want to hear it straight from him. I mean, he's developed a pretty phenomenal team. I know several of the people that work there and just had the opportunity to just really hear it from them.
Yeah.
And if you want to know how you doing in business, ask your employees.
Yeah.
Because that's the honest truth. So, pretty excited about that. Speaking of relationships, man, we've built a ton of relationships over the years.
Yeah.
Ton of relationships. Back on our very first podcast, we had Nash Osborne, and I just, sometimes a lot of times he'll call, in regards to something breaking or something like that. But, it's just fun to really just hear what's going on in life.
Yeah.
And I know you and your church and the relationships that you have built over the years. I mean, community is
absolutely
huge.
It's so easy to get product, but you just can't replace being able to go and talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have all the answers, I'm not liable to buy something until I know all the answers. And being able to talk to someone and get the answers that I need and say, have them tell me, hey, no, you're not looking at it the right way. Think about it this way.
Yeah.
Is invaluable. At Shaco, we ordered a ton of stuff through like those kinds of places. But there toward the end of my time there, I started building a relationship with a local company in that market. And I would go and pick up a rental item that a conference needed or something like that. And then I'd stay and talk for like 30 minutes about cool products, cool, things.
Grab a cup of coffee.
Yeah, get your
pull
coffee,
up a chair.
settle in. But it was just so cool that, those relationships were there to answer questions that I needed to grow.
Yeah.
And they're still there now. I text with a couple of the guys that were there and just keep up with each other.
Man, that's awesome. And same goes, with me. I mean, I knew the guy at Sound Pro, Sean Tallard. He was at a previous company, and we built a relationship. And it was very, very authentic and very, very unique.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, I didn't when I first met him, obviously it was business.
Right.
But the follow-up and then, asking, picking up the phone and let's talk about how the weekend went.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, how's the wife? Things like that. I'm like, wait a second.
I just need a microphone.
I just need a microphone, and you sound like you could care less about getting my money.
Yeah.
Which is huge, and that's why this whole podcast came to be, because it's more about, hey, I can trust these people.
Yeah.
They're not just trying to sell me something. They're not just trying to upsell me. They're not just trying to rob me. They genuinely care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so valuable in today's culture, because so many people are, especially during the pandemic. I mean, there's a lot of people that are like in recovery mode.
Yeah. And
naturally, they would want more of your money.
Right.
But it's and we're going to talk a little bit. I feel like I've got a couple of questions. You've got a question that's more tailored towards, the pandemic and making its way through that. Mm. And I feel like I know where that's kind of going to go. And it's just, people that survived through that survived because I feel like of the culture.
Right.
And
his that culture is so strong. He fits it so well because he was already that culture before he was at SoundPro. And that's why that relationship was already built. And when he went to SoundPro, we still do business some with the previous company. There's no hard feelings there, but you had a relationship with Sean. And as much business as we can send to him, that business has followed Sean because he's so involved with just seeing how you're doing.
Yeah. Taking care of things.
Yeah.
Cool little thing. I don't put it out there, anything other than I knew that this was more than business. Me and my wife were celebrating our anniversary, and obviously a lot of our conversations start out like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing this weekend? Yeah. Well, got, taking the wife out, celebrating the anniversary. Oh, really? What are you doing? And looking back on it, he was digging. He was trying to figure out, figuring out what was really going on. Went to one of our favorite restaurants. Show up, eat. We get done. The tab's paid for.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, what? Who did this? Sean did.
Wow. That's thoughtful.
From Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's when I knew, we love those guys. They're a huge resource for products. I mean, I'm not afraid to say we order products directly through the manufacturer. Getting your supply chain set up is hard. They figured that out. Let them do what they do. We want to install. Right. We want to supply our customers with what they need, and we want to install it and train them. And so, can we get the supply chains set up? Absolutely, we can. But we choose not to. We to some degree. There probably will be throughout, our business opportunities that I feel like present itself. But we want to learn about the products. We want to be educated about the products. We want to install the products, and we want to train you on the products, which is another huge episode within itself. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that come in and they install it, and then they're like, bye.
Have a nice day.
Hope you know how to run it.
Yeah.
So that's a part of the relationship aspect of who we are, and really just telling people, hey, we're not just going to run and hide. We want to be able to see you succeed in this. We want, like Noah said in the previous episode, we want to build a culture around enhancing, and if you don't know how to properly run it, and you're so focused in, oh, I hope I don't screw up, then sometimes it comes out in the end product, the end experience for people. If you really know how to run it and can do it confidently, and you can then focus on the overall experience and making sure that's executed, and it accentuates worship so that people can let their guard down and really fall into the Spirit, then you're doing it right.
Right.
We want to be able to help facilitate that, and so we can't take on too much.
Right.
And I think trying to figure out the whole supply chain and things like that, we've chosen to go this avenue and let people like Sound Productions, be our supplier, be our distributor of the products that we need for our customers.
Right. And that, the phrase exists, jack of all trades and master of none, for a reason. If you try to get your hands in everything, there's no way you can be excellent at everything.
Yeah.
But if we know what we're good at, we can be excellent at what we're good at. They know what they're good at. They can be excellent at what they're good at, and they are.
Yeah. And I know that they genuinely don't want to be, like this huge company. There's a lot of huge companies out there.
Right.
And they do it well. I'm not going to name any names, but there's like 3 that pop off in my head, and if you have ever had to order some stuff, you probably know of these companies and know that that's an avenue that you can go down. Sound Pro, I feel like, is different in the way that they are still that family type business, relational type business.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get. Talk to Sean on a pretty consistent basis about it, and he loves it over there.
Yeah.
So it's been a good thing for him, and we benefit from it. So
please excuse the ambulance in the background.
Yes, our studio is not soundproof. But speaking of the studio, man, we haven't really talked a lot about the studio, but man, this studio,
it was furnished by Sound Pro. We got all our stuff from them.
Yeah, we got almost all of our stuff.
Oh, okay.
Almost all of our stuff, but a good 95% of it. But yeah, we
built the table.
Yeah, Taylor, he's a craftsman. He likes wood and saws and everything.
I just enjoy it,
Yeah. So
you get to tear something up while making it beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, what else can you do that with?
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, before we get into the interview, a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. Want to give a huge shout out to Caleb. He is our producer today. He has been a huge help and a huge blessing to our business, both on the on-site production side and the next level integration side. And he was totally geeking out when we started this whole process. And I mean, he was the first one chomping at the bit. He was like, I want to be a part. I want to be a part. I want to be a part.
Yeah.
Try to say that like really fast. That's
I want to be a part. I want to be a part. I want to be a part. But I've had coffee.
You have. You have.
That's why I was able to.
But huge shout out to Caleb. We've got a ton of guys that help us, and we're really blessed to be able to have them a part of the show. Now, when it comes to the show, as our first couple of episodes came out, a lot of things kind of came to the surface about, things that we do on the show. One of the things that we do is the product review.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, if I'm watching if I'm listening to a podcast, like that doesn't really make sense. So I have to say, if you want the full effect, you're going to have to go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube. If we have the product in place on the table, today we're going to be talking about it, and we'll show some B-roll of what we're talking about. But, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Like you look for us and you'll find us.
Yeah.
Just search Next Level Integration.
But if you want the full effect, if you want to see this pretty mug right here, beard and all, sipping on some coffee, usually get something on a shirt, you definitely need to go check out YouTube. Subscribe and like. I will say it one more time.
Comment.
Subscribe and like. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Engagement, people.
So we've got 2 episodes up. This is number three. So we're rocking and rolling, and we've got so much to come. I mean, some awesome people, pastors, media directors, executive pastors, youth pastors. I mean, people within the industry. This is like up there.
Yeah.
Like episode number 3, and we've already got like the CEO of Sound Productions. Man, I'm excited.
It's only up from here. No.
Where are you going to go from here? So, anyway, y'all stick around. We are going to get the man, the myth, and the legend of Sound Pro in here on a little virtual call. So, y'all stick around. Well, welcome back to the Next Level Podcast. We're so excited to have a special guest. We've had some phenomenal people on the show thus far, and I kind of have to pinch myself a little bit for this next guest because we didn't feel like we'd be here so soon in starting this deal. But give you a little bit of backstory. I've been with a guy that I've ordered products through for quite some time, built a wonderful relationship, and obviously this episode is a lot about relationships, and I've built a relationship with a guy named Sean Tallard, and he is from a little town, Madison, Wisconsin, and so I called him up one day trying to find a product, and the relationship began, and I wanted to have him on the show, but he was like, I got to one-up you. How about I get the CEO of my company on the show? So we've got Joshua Curlett. Did I say it right?
You got it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So he is from Sound Productions, and they are actually based out of Texas, but built an office up in Madison, Wisconsin, and Sean works for him. They have an amazing team, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. And really just, a little bit of shameless plug. Like, I love ordering products. We order products through a lot of different avenues. But when it comes to ordering products and being able to let people stay in their lane, we like to install products. We love to get out there, meet with the clients, have an assessment of what it takes to put together a great audiovisual package for our customers.
Yeah.
We can't be focused on where products come from, how they get there, and things like that. And the guys at Sound Productions, they got it figured out. So, man, welcome to the show. Welcome to Next Level Podcast. We're so excited. I just want to dive into kind of who you are, man. How did you get into this? And tell us a little bit about Sound Productions.
For sure. Yeah, it's by the grace of God, truly. I mean, I love what I do. I was a lost soul before I came to Sound Productions. I was, actually working as a consultant. But, when I was introduced to Sound Productions, it was like coming home. When I was a boy, I actually I was in a portable church in a YMCA. So I was really a stagehand before I even knew what that was. No child labor laws, obviously, but we set up and broke out every weekend. Had a lot of fun. I learned a lot about analog consoles. I learned a lot about walkers on copper. Right, so that's a big
Mhm.
lesson of, hey, can we get a bridge over there? Because changing those snakes out was much more difficult back in the day. But it was an opportunity for me to really be part of something I loved. When I was in college, I had the opportunity to do a lot of productions, festivals, actually promoted a few concerts. That was a lot of fun. But coming to sound productions, truly, I think God had a hand in it, got me to something that I love doing. And one of the heart of what sound production is about, we're in the business of people. We just have the privilege of selling AVL. And so for me, it's really exciting because it gives us an opportunity to build relationships, to help people do what they do really well. One of the things I think unique about us, specifically coming at from a installation contractor integrator perspective, I'm not competing against you. I don't want to, right? I want to be the absolute high level partner to support you doing what you do. And so that's really exciting. As we continue to expand, is really meant to serve our customers. We have a very simple philosophy, and it's from me to any executive leader or anybody in the organization. Our success is judged by how successful the people around us are. And so we look at that the same thing for our customers. Our goal is to help you be more successful by giving you the right product the first time on budget, giving you information, helping you. I mean, currently in the supply chain craziness, it's trying to give as realistic lead times or alternative products. So those are the things that really get us excited. And for me, I feel like I'm on a journey and found my home.
That's awesome. Well, we've got a couple of questions, and one of them you kind of dabbled on, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. When it comes to the supply chain, but
Yeah.
what do you feel like? Just in a nutshell, what do you feel like sets you apart from a ton of? I mean, everybody's e-commerce right now, so
Sure.
there's a ton of people, and you touched on it, and I personally know this. The relationship is a huge aspect, but talk a
Sure.
little bit about what you really drive for in your employees and what they drive for to their customers that really just kind of pulls you away from the pack.
Sure. Yeah, great question. First thing so I'm a little stickler about it. I don't like to call anybody on our team employees. We're all team members. I think it's really a big differentiator for us. So slight little things that I think make a big difference. But for us as a team, I think the biggest thing, it goes back to people. Yes, I have been a part of something that's called conscious capitalism, and so basically the goal there is to, yeah, capitalism is a good thing. It helps create jobs. It does a lot of different stuff. But there's a responsibility to being a leader. There's a responsibility to the folks that are with you. There's a responsibility to your customer base. And so one of the things that we look at is you've got right here is the team member, right? And then over here you've got the company. Was leadership, I believe you should be in the absolute middle and lean towards your people. Because if you err too far on the person side, you might go out of business. If you err too far on the company side, you're going to hurt your people. And so to me, it's really about starting and stopping with people. And so the relationships matter. The way we set up our e-commerce, the way we set up anything that we do in telesales, anything we do in our CRMs, it's really all meant to have a relationship. It's not meant to grind you. It's not meant to hassle you and call you until you just give up and buy more. It's meant to say, hey, how are you? Right? What's going on? What can I help you with? What projects are you working on? And so our approach is a little bit different. And to me, it's fundamentally different from our competitors because I believe in the ecosystem. I think there's a lot of room within the ocean of AVL for people to make a living and do well. But what we're really trying to do and set apart is we want to make sure that our industry, as we're seeing market consolidations, as we're seeing commoditizations of some products, that we can stay special, right? That we can continue to serve people, that we can have personal relationships, that we can geek out about gear. And so for me, I don't want it to turn into a Best Buy type of thing or some other, hey, this is, we just do it really well and we keep doing it on a higher on a more expansive level. I want it to be personally or relationship based. So one of the things we're building, and Sean Tower is fantastic. Sean Tower, if you want a model human being, see Sean Tower. That guy is a very special person, just as he has a great heart, the way he helps those around him. But to me, that's exactly what we're trying to build. I'm trying to give more people the opportunity to do what they do at an absolute high level. I use this fun illustration that I think is appropriate here. My job is to build a lifeboat for culture and vibe in an industry that's the Titanic that just hit the Amazon iceberg. So for
That's
me,
awesome.
I take that very seriously. So I'm trying to build a bigger lifeboat so that way our industry continue to to thrive off of people.
Man, that's great. I'm going to throw it over to Taylor. He's got a couple of questions, but
Sure.
speaking about Sean, man, great guy. I know he's watching this, so send me a check. Love you. But he has been phenomenal. I've known him for golly, probably going on 6-7 years, and just you talk about a guy that he'll just call you up, and it ain't about work. It's not about products. It's about, man, how did what I sold you work out, and how's life going? He called me up on my anniversary. Me and my wife celebrated 14 years, and just call me up back in January, and he was like, "Man, congrats!" Like, a Facebook message and a text message doesn't do. I just wanted to call you, and I feel like that's the culture, because I'm like, he did make a huge change in his career, and I had to know why. And obviously what you're talking about really attests to that. So what you got, Taylor?
So, COVID's been crazy. Was there a moment you had to pivot, or how have things been for Sound Productions during all this?
I think it's tough for everybody, right? It's tough on a personal level. It's tough on a professional level. I think that, to me, the most important thing is you got to support the people. This is a very tough, once in a generation type of thing that we just don't know how to navigate, because we've never done something exactly like this before. But, for us, we absolutely had to pivot. I think that, every step of the way, I'm a big fan of transparency, visibility, communication. I think that when people are empowered, they do really well. So at the beginning, when ironically enough, the launch of the Madison office, or at least hiring of some of our resources as we started expanding, was the day they did the travel lockdowns. So we were actually flying them all down to Dallas that day, and so it was last minute, let's just start it all remote. So we did, but the pivot really came into, we saw a huge amount of streaming and things that were supporting that. So that way, a lot of the churches, specifically the house of worship market and some of the other folks, we saw a lot of people from work from home capabilities, the cameras. There was a lot of, inexpensive or good cameras for folks that they were able to do, the Zoom and the team and other features. So we definitely had to evolve in a very quick way to get educated on some of the products that, were specifically in that niche market. But as things started to evolve and people were vaccinated, felt more comfortable, we've seen that continue to evolve into sort of what I would consider a larger market share, meaning, or really just market, meaning more people now are having a hybrid work environments, right? So we're seeing a lot of people say, okay, well, with my hybrid work environment, what I'd really like to do? I'd like to have good audio, right? I'd like to have good video. I'd like to have some lights. And so it's a really neat opportunity for us to, to educate and serve our customers.
That's awesome. You mentioned a little while ago that about the crazy supply chain. How do your relationships play into getting stock and in times where everything's on back order?
Yeah, it's twofold, right? It's so on the customer level, it's I always want to share with our team and ultimately our customer, we're the professional version of other folks in our industry, right? We really focus on prosumers. That doesn't mean you've got to be, full-time traveling every day, every week, every month for touring concerts or something else like that. But it's professionals that understand and use the equipment that they buy from us to make a living, or it's something that they're working towards to make a living. And so for me, we have to take very seriously, and this is what we really built 50 years of legacy on, is we're quick, right? We are very quick to ship product. Everything that comes in, we same day ship. We have our centrally located Dallas warehouse, but as things evolve, our goal is to continue to build our national company with a regional presence, meaning we're going to have regional sales offices, training facilities, or training opportunities, distribution centers. That way, everybody gets it next day ground, or at least that's the goal for most of the continental United States. And so as we do that, that's a competitive advantage for folks like y'all, right? So if you need product, and today, is the 28th, we're at a Wednesday. Well, if you have a gig Friday night, when's that gig start if your equipment doesn't show up? Friday night,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so for us, we take it
Regardless.
very seriously. So that's something that really struck us at our core, because we stock deep, we ship fast. We want to make sure we get people the right product, because otherwise they might lose the gig. And that's a big deal, right? People's recurring gigs and other things like that really make a difference. So all said, it's been a challenge from a customer perspective. We've been, as in every way possible. If it's something that's not in stock, we front load expectations of the stock availability that the manufacturers provide. We work with them. We have a lot of automation to be able to support our team. So updated tracking, a lot of those things come through, but it's never going to be, none of the automation ever replaces our people. It just supports them so that way they can have more conversations, relationships. So I would say the hardest thing on a customer level is, and I don't, by no means am I trying to throw any manufacturer on the bus. It's more of the containers are, 2, 3, 4 times more expensive, right? Mm-hmm. The rail cars are unavailable. The shipping containers are all backed up. And so they might say, hey, this is 6 to 8 weeks out. And then 6 to 8 weeks, they're like, well, it's another month out. That doesn't work very well with the customer. So that's absolutely been a struggle. Yeah. From the manufacturer side, a lot of it has been, there's how do you pass that cost? Price increases, how do we do those different pieces? So that's a juggle that I don't think anybody's got a silver bullet for. But one of the things we really try to do is, I believe we advocate for our customers, right? So making sure that, we have stock, right? We have future orders. We place very large, significant POs to all of our manufacturers, so that way they can future plan. And so that allows for us to get stock and have that available stock to be able to support our customers better. But it's really just a mix. I think that what we'll see now, there's a lot of very smart people in the distribution world that are concerned we won't normalize until sometime next year. I think that's a true statement, as we're seeing containers come in and those other pieces. So, one of the things I would just say for folks is plan ahead, right? Call about stock availability and know that it's a moving target, not just in our industry. I think it's all around, but something I would encourage people as they're working on their projects this fall.
Absolutely, and you see that with lumber too.
Yeah.
So, we've talked about the Madison office opening. So, a lot of people through COVID had to downsize their team or furlough or do a lot of those things. But you not only kept your team, but you've grown it. How did you do that?
It's the people. Without giving too much of my secret sauce away, essentially, we very proudly have a strong balance sheet and very, very much believe in our people, right? The one thing that you can't, product's product, right? I love equipment, but equipment's replaceable, but people are never. And so one of the things that an early commitment for me was, how do we make sure that our team is whole through this whole process? And I understand that, the pandemic affected all of us differently, but one of the things that my commitment is, all right, everybody that's been here, we're going to keep you at a full paycheck and we're going to get through this together. And so I really leaned on my team to say, let's build the bridge, right? If it's a 2-week bridge until X, or if it's a month bridge, or if it's until we believe the vaccines will be released, or when touring season comes out, or if it's outdoor festivals that are done in a bubble. So we've really just worked, together to make sure, hey, this is where we're at. I had to make a conscious choice. Hey, it's okay not to make profit. What's more important is making sure all of my people are in a healthy place before we even worry about that kind of stuff. But one of the things that really helped going into this, as we were looking at and are still looking at ways that we can serve our customers better. So we specifically are working to invest in strategic areas that have better return. And so the combination of empowering our people and being very honest with what's going on, and then equally making sure we're well funded, that's really what helped us get through it.
That's awesome.
And for anybody listening, we are always hiring. So joshua.curlett@soundpro.com.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely on all of our platforms leave a link to your contact information, as well as y'all's website, And we'll talk a little bit more about how people can kind of get in touch with you as we wrap this up. But,
Sure.
you know, you said it. I don't want to give away my secret sauce, but I got to know, like, what's the next big move for Sound Productions?
That's a great question. I, I can tell you it's going to revolve around people. I believe in empowering people to be able to do something special within our industry. Our goal isn't to be the biggest or have the most press releases or anything else like that. Our goal is to serve those around us. And so as we look, and that doesn't mean anyone else isn't doing a great job. There are plenty of very well-ran organizations that they do a great job in their lane, and I respect that. I'm a big fan of the ecosystem. I believe in regional music stores. I think they're huge. Growing up playing in the band, it was very important to me to be able to go in and learn from my instructors and be able to pick up my reeds. I was a saxophone player, but so for me, it's okay. What's next with that? Without too much, I'll just say very clearly what I think we should be doing as an organization through the balance of this decade, which is deepening regional relationships, having people that know people. Now that doesn't mean I have to live in Alabama. I didn't go to Jefferson State, but you know what? I know you did, and I care about you, and I those are the things that matter. And so what we're really going to focus on is making sure that as we continue to grow, we have folks that regionally can support each other, that understand each other. I know that the rep network is very good at doing those different things. There's a lot of great reps in the United States, but my goal is really to create the best distribution system, basically mirroring what Amazon has accomplished for my industry, and then empowering all of my folks to be able to use that so that way people can shop within our industry rather than going outside of it.
Awesome. Well, I will say that I don't know what the family thinks about it, but you can always move to Alabama.
Yeah.
You can always
volleyball at Georgia, so we're close.
Hey, there you go. There you go. We had a conversation a while back and had a great conversation with you and Ryan and Sean and in a little conference call. And, anytime you want to put a regional office here in Birmingham, come on. I'll find you an office.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, kind of to wrap things up, I'd love to know just one big, huge lesson as being a CEO. I run my own company. I've got 2 companies, and I've learned a lot. But it's always tough to like pick one. But what do you feel like, through this whole journey, especially through COVID and things like that? Like what's one big thing that you've really, learned doing what you do?
Yeah. I'll give you 2, right? It's a 2 for 1 here. First one is words matter. Absolutely. The way you say it, what you say matters. So one of the things, I have a little Mickey Mouse on my desk in here. I went to the Disney Institute. They have a leadership summit there at Walt Disney World. And one of the things that I took away that I still do today is when somebody comes into my office or anybody has somebody come into your office or interrupt what you're doing, sometimes you can be like, hey man, I'm trying to get something done here. But the reason why I leave the little Mickey figurine on my desk is they came into your office because they wanted your help. So rather than being frustrated because somebody interrupted you, it's a compliment to say they think you can help them. And so for me, the way you say things, what you say, how you say it, the words really matter, specifically as a leader. And so sometimes we're going to misspeak, right? We're human. We're going to make mistakes. I get that. But I think it's really important to make sure that we're very aware of what we say and how we say it, because we don't want to create any unnecessary, hurt feelings or frustration or even confusion. And then, the simplest and the last part is be humble. You don't matter as much as you think you do. The people around you matter. They're the ones that are helping you get there. And so I think as leaders, sometimes people, they drink their own Kool-Aid and they think they're the person. Not that you're not special, right? I think everybody has different skill sets, but I think it's really important as a leader to remember that everybody around you is part of that secret sauce. They're a part of that solution. And so it's important that leaders stay humble and do the best they can to make the people around them better.
That's awesome, man. That hits me in the heart, because it's like, it really kind of brings everything into perspective about, especially what I know about y'all, some of the things that me and Sean have talked about, and it really is important. Like this whole episode was about, who can I trust, relationships, things like that. But I mean, that hits the nail on the head. I mean, it really is about your people. I mean, I have a lot of transparency. I've, open door policy and share with my team everything that I can. There's things that I can't, but I mean, a good 90% of what goes on day to day, and the decisions I have to make, I really ask them, and what you're talking about is just, I mean, it's solid.
And you're better off for it, and so are they. People, we have a very smart, working population. And so in engaging those folks, you're going to be better off for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, to finish this all out, tell the folks how they can get in touch with you. What's some of the best avenues to, hopefully start building a relationship with one of your team members and maybe even you.
Yeah. So you go to soundpro.com. We have all of our social there, and other things that you can follow us, like us, get to know us better. We're there to help tell our story and help represent who we are and educate our folks. On that same place, you can reach out to orders or sales at soundpro.com. Those are both equally going to get you connected with somebody. And we really try to steer our prospects or new customers to somebody who speaks their language. So if it's a church or a DJ or an integrator, so that way we can help support it best. But I'm a full transparency guy. Anybody ever wants to email me, call me, feel free to do so. Yeah, I believe in our ecosystem, and if I can help, I will. You can email me directly at joshua.curlett@soundpro.com. I believe in people. I believe in the ecosystem of AVL, and so anything I can do to help, let me know.
Well, man, it's been an honor. Never in my wildest dreams thought 3 episodes in we'd be getting the CEO of SoundPro. It really speaks to your culture. The fact that Sean was like, I got one better. Like, I'll give you the man, the myth, and the legend.
I would submit not one better, just different. Sean is equally a very special person.
Yeah, absolutely.
It speaks to your culture that he could approach you about it.
For sure.
You wouldn't be bothered by it. So that's awesome.
I love it. I love all y'all's people. I've not only worked with Sean, but a few other people within the Madison location that you have. Ryan, who is one of your, I think, sales people, sales managers up there. Talk to him, and man, you got it going. And I'm super honored to be able to have this relationship with y'all. Y'all have been a vital asset to Next Level Integrations, on-site productions. Both of our companies have, valued that relationship. And it's not just about buying products. It's about y'all doing what you do so that we can do what we do. And when I know that I can order something, 2 days later it's here, that's valuable. That's huge. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your business, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that kind of wraps up our interview here. We've got some more coming in this episode, so y'all stick around. Well, man, what an interview,
dude. Josh is cool. Joshua, I forgot to ask if it was Josh or Joshua. I think his email is Joshua, so we're gonna go with Joshua.
Okay, but
he's cool.
But he's cool, and he would probably not care.
He'd just play it off.
Yeah.
But
so
it seems like a cool culture. Like everyone's approachable. No one's too good. He's cool. That's a cool company.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we talked in the beginning of the episode, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, we got product review,
and as you see, it's not here. We've already installed it, but it's just so cool.
It's definitely not the tablet.
No. We don't have any logos showing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's such a cool product. The Intech Pixie Tape.
Yeah. So Pixie Tape, Pixie drivers. Just recently did an install, and it was just kind of something that we brought in did a little testing with it, and we've got some footage from that, and but that stuff is
It was cool.
too legit to quit.
It wrinkled my brain programming it.
Yeah.
Because it was just so much, like it seemed like so much at the time. Now that it's programmed,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, and that all makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
it all came together. Like it wasn't as daunting as I was assigning it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes such a cool effect.
Yeah.
Like they're all flat. We installed them on steel beams on the ceiling to, shine down and kind of create like an arrow effect. It's all the same level, but it makes it look like the ceiling is sloping in.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yeah. So, give you a little bit of story. We wanted to have something that we can kind of create a full of environmental effect.
Right.
So, youth room at Trinity United Methodist, and they just wanted a full effect of not only having, intelligent lighting, moving around, being able to have some static wall wash, being able to have, a stage wash, but to really cap it off, putting things across the heads of folks.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just gives you that full
You're in
rounded.
it.
Yeah, you're just in the moment.
Yeah.
And so, IntTech is a company that designs a lot of cool products.
Yeah.
They've got a lot in the way of lighting, but their Pixie series, and they've got several different options. They've got 5-volt, 12-volt options. They've got RGB white, and then of course they've got the drivers that communicate to those. Depending on how many channels you have on your lighting console, will determine how that's set up, and a lot of that is what you had to program into the drivers to let them know this is what you're controlling.
Mm-hmm.
This is how many pixels we want, and just kind of broke it down so that we can kind of keep things wrangled in on a single universe of DMX.
Because I want to say there are 809 pixels in that installation.
Yeah.
And we knocked the next DMX address available is 487. So there's not much room left.
512, and we're knocking on the door.
So it was really interesting, and looking back, it was, I had trouble. So in those Pixie drivers, you can set a group of pixels together, or you can set it as low as 1 pixel.
Yeah.
And looking back, I think we could have gone 1 pixel on a lot of them.
Yeah.
We have some longer runs, and there was a limitation. You can only do up to 170 pixels.
Yeah.
So I thought, after installing, I think it's 170 groups.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And
yeah.
So that last run, the last run would have been the only one that would be limited by that, because it had 209 in it.
Wow.
And so we could have even gotten down to every single pixel addressable. It's just so cool.
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
So, very cool product. We've worked with a lot of different LED tape. And this stuff, for the price point, that's the kicker.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of LED pixel tape out there. This stuff is cool. It's easy to use, and it's reasonable.
Yeah.
So we're starting the process of doing a lot of architectural stuff. We want to be able to just kind of take the business to the next level in the way of like being able to incorporate things within the architecture, shining up walls, creating like shadow boxes. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this that will give you that versatility.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think anything about it. People are like, give me the biggest mover you got.
Yeah.
This stuff is cool.
Yeah.
In the way of being able to, incorporate it into, like I said, the architecture of a design.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but yeah, cool product.
I liked it a lot. I will recommend that so many times because it's just so cool.
Yeah. So, well, hey, that kind of wraps up episode number 3.
Episode number 3 in the books.
Absolutely. Another reminder, definitely subscribe, definitely like, whatever platform you like to listen to podcasts, we're there. But to get the full effect, definitely look us up on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're posting those, like I said, weekly.
Video.
Absolutely. So that's a wrap. And we'll see y'all on the next podcast. But until then...
You know why you never see elephants hiding in trees?
No.
Because they're just so good at it. Man.
Oh, boy. Bye, y'all.